But yeah, what do you think of the idea of just trying to go back over our experience as power engineering, like seeing if we can bring up any value there?
I'm down. Let's
Yeah,
try
it
it
should be.
out, man.
Yeah, let's try to.
I wanted to look up. Can you still see me when I'm not on the thing?
Yeah, I can still see you
Okay.
right now.
Power engineering jobs since 2000. Like there used to be a way you could. Oh, see, I think that's kind of sketchy. And there's so many jobs like Lower Mainland area for power engineering, but it's just not what a guy wants to do.
What type of jobs are those?
Me personally, anyway, it's just like a lot of like building operator style
Yeah.
position, which is like obviously pretty dope because it's a great job, and then you get to live in the Lower Mainland and be home every night and stuff, but just kind
Yeah.
of quite the change up. Let me
Man,
look here.
do you mind tossing your
Alberta.
mic a bit closer to your mouth?
Oh yeah, yeah. Am I whispering again?
Yeah, there. That's
Alberta register power engineer directory. How's that, bro?
that sounds
I
great.
don't want to keep like hitting it, but I can.
Yeah, I mean, where it was good.
Okay.
So.
Fuck. Yeah, I was trying to find that thing. Like, I know you can search in like Alberta, but Alberta's like website used to show you like how many like fourth classes there were and like how many.
Yeah, I remember that
third
directory.
class. Yeah. Oh, here we go. See, tough search, man. Man, I don't know if like Google's pretty handy, but I think I'm a pretty bad Google searcher, man.
I mean, it could be that, although it also could be like, I wonder how many people even hit this directory up.
Yeah.
You know, like it might be buried on like page 50.
How many power engineers are there in Canada, bro?
Yeah, nice.
Let's try this. National Institute of Power Engineers, man, has 5 levels of certification. Let's try this, man. Let's try the NIPE website.
Okay, so.
Oh, looks legit. First to fifth. It shows all the places you can take it. Branches, employment, police, employment classifieds.
So is that the official site?
I don't know what Institute of Power Engineers. This logo looks really familiar, but I don't think this is too much of a like official website, to be honest with you. Place employment. I don't want to. Oh, you can. Oh, it's kind of like a spot. It's almost like a. Oh, they got jobs postings on here and stuff. That's kind of cool, guys. And then it's got all the branches. So I guess this is like a Canadian kind of thing. But anyways, not what Dad's looking for. Anyway, yeah, no, I think though, yeah, we can talk about the old PE. Like it was like basically like a saving grace, you know?
Absolutely.
In a way, like it's like, well, I know that I know some people that have done this, and I know it's good, and I've hung out with them, and they seem like happy people and satisfied with what they're doing. So why not?
Man, try resetting your camera. You're frozen on my end.
Oh, my dang nabbit.
Yeah, weird.
Nice. Look at that. You see how quick I am there? Boom.
Ooh, head fake.
Yeah, pump fake.
Boom. Man, totally. And I guess your pops, eh?
He said yeah. Fucking loser, man. Yeah, no, yeah, my dad, he was doing it, so that's kind of thing. But it's funny because it's one of those careers where you like really don't know what the fuck it is until you start doing it. Like my dad did it forever, and I really had no idea. I knew he had
no idea.
I was like, he works at a gas plant. I guess they do stuff up there, but I don't really get it. But I think because like for us, even like you can kind of explain it or whatever, and then like power engineering is like more based on like generating power and like efficient ways to do that, and then all the sub systems that contribute to it. But then in the grand scheme of things, like where I work, it's like processing is like the money maker, but the power engineering knowledge contributes to being able to run that shit well. And then also the I don't know, like the power engineering aspect is very just like generating power and like using the steam to generate more power, blah 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 blah, and it's just like a circle. But it's very useful in all these other systems because it's kind of applies like the same philosophies, you know.
Absolutely. Man, would you say it's fair to think of being a power engineer as becoming like an expert at maintaining and operating power plants, essentially?
Yeah, kind of, but like even in the sense like what I do now is like we're not really like a power plant, like it's classified plant based on like heating value and like the terminology, but like a power plant versus like a natural gas processing facility is like can be quite different just based on the fact that like we're not really even like where I work now, we don't generate power in the sense that like we're using boilers to make steam to run turbines to spin generators.
Yeah,
So,
completely fair.
but
So I guess it's more
it's a pretty like power engineering is pretty cool though because it gives you like the baseline of how like all kind of power plants and processing facilities, like no matter really what they're doing, like anywhere from like even like a building operator to like a oil refinery, it's all kind of using the same principles. They're just like bigger scale, and then it's the same kind of thing where there's like a bunch of little subsystems that contribute to these bigger systems and that kind of thing. But I don't know. I'd say it's I don't know. Power engineering is pretty cool, and the thing though too is like you have to have certain tickets to run certain equipment. So that's why power engineering is so important. But like these big facilities, like obviously oil and gas is like where people make a ton of money. So they incorporate like these the power boilers to increase the efficiency and cost savings of their whole operation. So it kind of just goes hand in hand, you know?
Yeah. So when someone says they're a power engineer, what education do they have? I obviously know this, but like in your experience, has anyone said they're a power engineer without having actually done the certification, like the 4th class, 3rd class, 2nd class? Would anyone say that?
No, I don't think so. Most people, like when you ask them, like they don't really even say, like myself included, like it's like, well, what do you do? It's like, oh, I'm an operator at a gas plant, not like, oh, I'm a power engineer. And I think most of my buddies are like that. And then it's like, oh, did you go to school? And it's like, oh yeah, I went to school for power engineering. But like my job is like an operator. And it goes just back to like, I don't like I've never really, unless you talk to someone who's like done it or knows people who do it, they don't really like know, you don't really know what the fuck it is until you do it. So it's like even like explaining it to people is hard. I remember being in college and like it'd be like, well, like people are asking us like what our program even is. And it's like, well, I don't know. It's like all these like I don't like you can look at the book, but like you don't really even get it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then like, after time, you can kind of explain it and like, oh, well, it's like the basis of it is like using using like a boiler, which is basically like a fucking kettle on the stove with a lid on it to create steam, and then you use the steam to run turbines, and then the turbines can make power. And then obviously it's like fucking a lot more in depth than that, but like on a basic way to explain it, that's kind of what it is. But I don't know.
Yeah. So the education of power engineering, like it essentially gives you the legal ability because all those systems are regulated to operate at a certain level of like pressure. And so in order to be a plant operator, you have to pass these tests and the regulatory tests, and their curriculum is essentially, the curriculum is pretty weird. It's like there's a mixture of math, physics, thermodynamics, along with kind of the history of these generating systems.
Anywhere from like a locomotive engine and like how it ran, like how they used to run trains, and even to like environmental stuff, like about like emissions and like how if you're like how you affect like ecosystems with certain things, and that comes from probably like the water side of it, right? Like you need water to use these systems and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I know
Treat
it's quite a fucking, it's fucking pretty vast. And then as you obviously, like with everything, like the further and the deeper you get into it, the more like localized each, like, I guess, book is, like when you start with the fourth, when we did it, it was kind of like, holy fuck, like it's 4 books, and it's kind of like, oh, this is pretty broad. And then you go into the next stage, like your third or whatever, and it kind of,
yeah. So, but why
the
don't you
books are just as in depth, but they're a lot more like, instead of having like 4 books on everything, like you'll have like 6 books on everything, and so on and so forth. Like it just kind of like gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, bro, why don't we break down how to even become a plant operator or power engineer? Like, what is the schooling like? Like,
Yeah, we can do
how
that
do
for
you do
sure.
it?
Fuck, man. I guess we just find a spot that'll take a couple goons. Yeah, when all your other plans fail. No, just
Well, I
no,
guess,
think it's
yeah, that's a
sick. I
good
should say
topic
that.
though.
Power engineering's sick. Power engineering's
No,
sick.
and power engineering, people are drawn to it because it's a fantastic career with a high salary, with great working conditions. That
Yeah.
doesn't take very long to get through college. Now,
Yeah, it's like,
getting into college is hard though for power engineering.
yeah, especially when we were trying to do it. I think it's kind of quieted down again. I haven't really like looked, but I remember when we were trying to get in, like at like the schools because they have schools like where you do your 4th class, like what we did, like Fairview, Grand Prairie, that kind of style. There's tons of schools that do that, and then they have schools like Nate and Sate who offer like 2-year tech programs, and their technology program is actually like you take courses on all the info in the books versus just like learning the book, if that makes sense. And I think that those ones are way more competitive, obviously, because it's like you come out with such a bigger knowledge of everything. Like they teach you all this info and then give you the test, and you can pass the test based on all the things you learned. Whereas like, I feel like how we did it, it was more like, this is what's in the book, so let's just learn what's in the books, but not really going as like in depth into like all the different kind of chapters and stuff, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess to explain that, because someone will be confused. To become a power engineer, you have to pass these regulatory tests. Now, how people typically get certified to become a power engineer, you also need practicum hours. But to get certified to be a power engineer, you usually go through college and you do like a tech certificate or a diploma. And these courses set you up for the provincial test. Now, if you don't pass the provincial test, it doesn't matter if you've passed your college program. You still aren't considered a power engineer or a certified power engineer. So yeah, almost everyone goes through college, would you say, or the majority of people?
Yeah, you have to now too, because they used to make it where you could like challenge the tests. Like your 4th class, you could just challenge it and have the books and study it and go and write the government exams. But they had it where I think they're getting like a big influx of guys just challenging it. So then they're like, hey, we should make it so you have to at least do like a year of schooling so that we can. I feel like I almost think it was like because they didn't want to like flood the like power engineering market with a bunch of people who just like I don't know, like memorized answers, I guess, in a way. Or maybe they did it so that these schools could actually make money off the course and then make it into like a bigger bit of like a fuck, I don't know how you'd say it, but like, how like if you had like a course and it's like, oh no, these guys all went to school for it, and you actually, it's kind of like how trades work. A trade is like, you got to obviously a little different, like 4 years before you can be a journeyman or whatever, but you have to like do a year of school, do some practicum. I think they're almost trying to make it a little bit more of like that style, as it's obviously not a trade, but it kind of falls into that same kind of realm in a way. And I think that you can, instead of having like the market flooded with like kind of not incompetent people, because obviously if you pass the test, you know what you're doing, but like at least this way you can show that it's like, oh no, all these people have done X amount of schooling and then got into it or whatever. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, think that's true. I mean, I guess it's a technical program where there are requirements, and now college is one of them, and hours are one of them.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess, though, the biggest choke point for people attempting to get into this industry, and there's a lot of people that we know that have tried to get into this industry that haven't been able to break into it. If you make it in power engineering, it's a fantastic career. You will do incredibly well for yourself. And many people, especially people from like Grand Prairie, essentially energy sector towns and cities, Calgary,
Yeah.
Grand Prairie, where we went, Fairview and Northern Alberta. It's a aspirational job for a lot of people, and a job where people will work for the rest of their life if they can manage to break into the industry. It's hard to break into the industry, right?
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
now.
Yeah, it's a lot of who I feel like a lot of things, but like it's a lot of who because like you think about all the people who apply for jobs, and then you go like, okay, well, there's all these people, but this guy that works here, well, his friend, she's actually applied for it, and she's pretty good. So obviously we know about this person, like we'd hire them over like, oh, this guy or this person seems all right, versus like, oh no, we know this person's going to be all right, let's bring them in. You know what I mean? So that's how I think the breaking in is like, it's very hard. And then too, it seems like a very small, like everyone kind of knows everyone in it. Like I know quite a few people at all these different companies and stuff, and they know like people I've worked, like it's a very small community, it seems. So I feel like if you don't make a good impression, it kind of, it doesn't take very long for it to kind of travel.
Absolutely. I guess, yeah, it's small. It's often tough to get your initial job. You often have a connection, but honestly, I think that's with every industry. The more
I think so too.
That's just with everything.
Yeah.
A big choke point for people attempting to break into the industry are a lot of the young guys in Northern Alberta who might think this is for them. You're going to have to get on top of your academics. Like, how many people do we know that weren't able to even get in the running to get a job because they couldn't get through the tests?
Yeah, exactly.
The tests are no walk in the park,
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so,
go ahead.
No, sorry, you go.
Yeah, no, it's definitely like you can't just like, I don't know. It's you're not just gonna get like it's like with anything. I mean, like if you have like two people and one person is got all the requirements and then also a bit above, and then you have another person who has kind of the requirements and is just kind of at par with everyone. Like it's like with everything, it's kind of like, well, judging off of paper, you probably go with the first person mentioned versus the second,
Absolutely. I guess there are some people that manage to get jobs in the industry even without a ticket. But there
for sure. It almost like the tickets almost became like, it almost came like more of a, well, I guess that's not true, because I guess a lot of guys have had them for a long time, but it used to not be. No, that doesn't make sense, because it would be, everything's regulated. But yeah, I don't know. I think like a lot of the kind of stumbling here, but all of the hype around power engineering kind of obviously boomed with like oil booms. Yeah. And then people are like, oh, this is incredible. So then you get a huge flood of people wanting to do it. And then a boom kind of dies down, and now you're left with, okay, so there's not as many jobs as there was, but now we have these levels of certification. So now you can, based on people's certification, you can kind of think that you're picking a better candidate.
So what is it that drives so many people to power engineering, and why these programs, especially during booms, get so freaking competitive?
Man, I think honestly, just like you were saying before, like the power engineering is just such a, like there's not many careers where you get to like have as much time off as you do with like making a solid wage. And then also it's almost like it's almost like being on like a team, I guess, if that makes sense. Like you just, like, everyone I talk to is like, yeah, you just like, they're stoked. They just like go hang out with the boys for a week or 2 weeks or whatever your shift is. And you're kind of like, you might be doing things that suck at times, but you're like doing it with people like your buddies at work, and you spend so much time with them. Like you definitely build some solid relationships. So I think that kind of part of it plays into it for sure. Like it's very rare or that I've noticed in like the places I worked, like it's always been like great groups of guys, and everyone's just like everyone's kind of obviously doing it for the same reason, or maybe they didn't get it in for the same reason as they maybe started before you or whatever, but like they're kind of just like, I don't know, everyone seems pretty happy. Like it's kind of hard to be, unless you're, I mean, I don't know, it's kind of like it'd be a little ignorant if you were like grumpy about the job you had, knowing like compared to other, it's like how can you be upset with this? Like how are you upset being here? Obviously everyone's got like other issues that contribute to it, but like as a job as a whole, and if you're only looking at a job, like it's pretty hard to beat.
Yeah, I guess like you're saying, many people go out to camp after they get a job and
Yeah.
work remotely. So it's often 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. You're out at camp, kitchens, people
Yeah.
feeding you. You're essentially on the team that makes sure that the facility is running properly. If
Yeah,
there's an
exactly.
alarm, you make sure that it's not serious, and if it's serious, you fix it. If there's an emergency, you jump on it right away. In
Yeah,
these
exactly.
large processing plants and energy plants, places where power engineers work, um, there's always a team watching this equipment because number one, it's very expensive. It's dangerous if something goes wrong, and you need professionals there to make sure it's all going right. Um,
Yeah.
what this means, though, and why a lot of people are drawn to power engineering is you have to know the system incredibly well so that if there is a catastrophe, you can jump on it. But at the same time, oftentimes the system's going quite smoothly. So your day to day grind is pretty chill. You get to spend time with your coworkers, you do little maintenance jobs, you do little things to keep the plant busy, but it's not incredibly stressful. It's more like very chill the majority of the time and very, very stressful infrequently.
Yeah, it's like yeah, but most of the time it's pretty relaxed, and then when stuff does start hitting the fan, it's like, okay, here you go. This is kind of why we're here, and then you sort it all out, and then it kind of goes back to being just like steady. But it's just very just like it just runs, like the facilities run like, besides like turnarounds like for maintenance and things, they just run like 24/7, 365. They're always just running. There's little blips and stuff, but for the most part, places just run. And they run because people are looking after them and whatnot. But then there's the odd time where something happens and it stops running, and then you need to fix it. And oftentimes when things stop running in like everything's going along smooth and then something happens, it's quite a big shakeup in the system. So it like takes quite a while to get it back to being straight again, versus like little blips or whatever when the bigger stuff kind of is going down.
Bro, what do you think of the camp lifestyle?
I think camp's sick, but also like it's not. I don't know. Camp is cool if you're like obviously single. Being in camp has its pros and cons. Um, I don't know. I'd say camp is cool because you can, like for me, I live in Vancouver. I work in northern BC and live in Vancouver, so I can. The being in camp is nice because I don't have to live. I can live where I want to live. I don't have to live um, up north. And for some guys, they love living up north. So for them, being in camp is kind of annoying to them because they'd rather just like go to their house every night,
Yeah, so
and that
yeah.
kind of thing.
So where do
And
you
then
work, bro?
I work outside of Fort St. John.
Yeah.
So I work like, I don't know, like in between Fort St. John and Fort Nelson. There's quite a bit of activity out there, and quite a few people make a good living in that area for sure. But the camp thing is I don't know. I think it's cool, but then at the same time, it's like when you're gone, you're like fully 100% gone. Like it's not like if you were home every night and then you were, oh okay, oh yeah, I'll go for dinner with you guys, or oh I'll go do this, or oh, you're playing on like a slow pitch team or whatever. It's like when you're gone, you're 100% gone. But you get the it's a bit of sacrifice to be like, okay, well then one day's off, I'm also not here, so I'm where I'd like to be. Camp jobs are usually longer stretches of work, like either a week on, off, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. So you do get decent amounts of days off in between your regular work schedule, which obviously is a big attraction for guys. But also then like, I don't know, it's kind of tough. Like if you're move to a new town or a new city and then you're in camp, like trying to meet people and make friends and stuff is it's not super hard because obviously you get your days off, but it's like, oh shit, like now I'm actually going to work for 2 weeks. I'll see you guys. And then like 2 weeks to lots of people, like that's quite a few days to be away from people. So there's kind of like that setback. But then like this is a complete opposite. Like it's just like literally one extreme or the other, and there's no really in between. So it's either like you're around all the time or you're not around. So I don't know. Yeah. I think it's kind of nice though too. I like the separation between home and work. Like you don't really, I mean, obviously you have to deal with some things while you're away, but for the most part, like, I'm at work, and for this week of work, I'm gonna go to the, like, obviously work, and then try and eat good, work out, exercise, maybe like catch up on some things like after work or whatever. You can get on the computer and maybe catch up on some things you need to catch up on, or if you're working on something else, you can kind of do that as well. Same thing if you're, I mean, before your night shift, you're usually up for a little while, so you can make some calls, call people. Because I find when I'm on days off, I feel more, I'm like, oh, I got to be doing stuff, like I don't want to be just like sitting around. So it is kind of a nice, you're not just stuck out there, and then you come home and you're like, oh, I got all these things to catch up on. You've been able to kind of stay on top of it while you're at work, and then you come home and everything's kind of all your ducks in a row, which is, I kind of like that totally.
Too. There is something about that, having separation from home and work. I know when I was going out at the hydroelectric plant out into the Yukon, it is nice just being like, yeah, I'm out here at work. This is all I have to focus on now.
Yeah.
And I don't have distractions. But that prolonged like distance from home for a couple weeks, that starts throwing wrenches into things too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it'll definitely it's a tough one too for other people to kind of wrap their head around. They're like, oh, okay, you're gone. Like, I guess you're just gone.
Why go out to the camp? Why not try to find a power engineering job in town?
Well, for me, like we were talking before, there's a lot of different, you can be a power engineer who works at a building, who runs like their heating and ventilation, kind of air conditioning systems, for like a big condo building or business buildings in like a city and whatnot. Or you can work at like in where the oil and gas is, like in the energy sectors. And I don't know, they're kind of just, obviously you have to be in certain parts of the country to work in those sectors. Yeah. And that's kind of why. And then on top of that too, it's like, I don't know, I didn't get into the power engineering to hopefully work at like a condo building or like at a hospital or something. I kind of got into it to be in oil and gas and whatnot. And that's, I mean,
completely
it's obviously just like a bit styles. Yeah, it's a lot different. And like I don't know, I've never worked the other one, so it's tough to comment on it, but it's just like, it'd be like I don't know, you kind of like, there's certain professions where you get into them and then you can pick all these different avenues, and obviously like certain avenues have more benefit than others, or they just have different benefits. Like obviously a benefit of being a building operator is you can live in a city and be home every night. Yeah. But that kind of thing, I don't know, it just kind of, that's kind of the cool thing about the career, is like you're not just like stuck in one spot. Like if you wanted to, hey, maybe for like a year try it out, you could try it out. Like, you know what I mean? Like you could give it a shot, and maybe, hey, you'd really enjoy it. I got one of our buddies who went to school, he was working at a gas plant, and then he said, you know what, I actually really don't like this that much. And he's working at the hospital and he loves it. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like, depending on who you are and what you like. But I don't know, I kind of just like the oil and gas kind of, I don't know, it just seems a lot more maybe going on to it.
Absolutely.
In a way, you know what I mean?
I mean, I pretty much anyone who gets into power engineering, it hasn't, not everyone, but a lot of people get into it because the oil and gas
exactly
profession, like if you that's the way you want to go. That's
I mean, it's Yeah, exactly. It's kind of it ticks a lot of boxes for guys. Like you can do a career where you are doing something you're passionate about, and then that's going to make you happy and you'll be kind of fulfilled from it. Or you can do a career where you might be like kind of passionate about it, but what it allows is for you to have your time away from work and be like a lot less stressful, if that makes sense. Like you can do your career where you're like really fulfilled in what you're doing, or you can work a career that lets you really enjoy your time away from work without having to worry about things. I don't know, like it kind of gives you a bit of like financial stability and knowing you kind of don't have to worry too much in that department, which I think is like a big draw for people, and it makes the sacrifice of like being away for half the year a little bit easier, because you know that like when you're at home you're not too um like that stress isn't really there, if that makes sense, you know.
Well, man, think back when we were in college. So we went to Grand Prairie College. Hunter and I played volleyball together. And think back about,
Sat on the bench.
yeah, I mean, we
I played in practice. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we practiced volleyball a lot.
We
I've watched
practiced
a lot of
volleyball,
volleyball games, so that was pretty fun.
yeah, I got a bag and some sweatpants, but the bench was nice.
So Hunter and I weren't the best students. Let's just say that. In high school, I personally did not try. I never studied, and my grades reflected that. I was very mediocre. Like, what was your high school like?
Yeah,
Similar thing.
similar. Just like, I don't know, you're fucking, I don't know, when you're a kid you're a little dumb, like you just think you're the sickest thing ever, and you're like, oh, I'll worry about this later, but
Too
try
cool
and worry about it then, because
you know,
as
too cool for school.
Yeah, me and Mikey, we really bonded in college over doing academic upgrading together. So that's
so yeah. So what brought us to
high school and college sucks. Just do better in high school. And then
yeah, I mean if you can manage it, just do well in high school.
Yeah.
But
if you can manage it, no. You can manage it. Like you can definitely manage it.
Yeah, you can manage it, but we didn't manage it. So I don't know. Like,
yeah.
You know.
But you guys can for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely could.
So
but you don't get it. You don't understand when you're that age. Like what you're really like, you can really fuck yourself over in a few years of not doing very well, and then it just makes like trying to do well harder. Not that it's impossible or whatever, and you almost can I don't know, it kind of taught me some shit, like just as like a human, and like for some good I don't know, you kind of grow up a bit after you realize like, holy smokes, okay, I can't just like squeak by and be fine. Like I've squeaked by all of high school and things have been fine. Like that doesn't work. It works in high school because they just let you squeak by. Like it's not like they don't really care. They're just like, okay, yeah, cool, you can do whatever you want. But like if you really want to actually do something and be successful, you need to have like a decent groundwork, or at least care a little bit. Things, not saying that you have to go to school to be successful, but like, I don't know, just like knowing that if you don't try, you're probably not going to get very far. And it all stems from you trying. Like there's I'm not a good student. It's like, are you not a good student, or are you just not trying? Maybe you compared to the other guy, like that person over there studied for a half hour and crushed their exam, and you had to study for 4 hours to get it. There might be different levels of like ability to learn, but it doesn't mean that you can't be in the same class as that person, you know?
Well, absolutely, man. And back when we were upgrading, right? It's hard to upgrade if you don't have an aim. And so, we were there, we were playing volleyball, we were upgrading, had no idea what we wanted to do. And we're mostly there for the socializing and partying and sports. Yeah. But power engineering does give people like, you and I and regular people in a small town in northern Alberta a way to have a career that pays you more than pretty much all careers with not much school, and that provides you with a lot of freedom. Yeah. Now that aim is for young people. Like think back how lucky we were to have that ambition to try to get in. Yeah. And so what we did was we went to college. We were lucky enough to end up in college. Chances are we wouldn't have ended up in college. Hey, would you say, if it wasn't for volleyball?
I would have. Yeah, I think.
You think you would have? I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know if I
100%.
would
Well,
have.
I was going like I didn't even know I was gonna be on the team when I
Oh
got there. I just went to
yeah,
open
I
trials,
forgot
man.
about that. I
Showed
mean,
up,
I
man.
probably.
So I was definitely going, and for me too, it's like I knew I was gonna. Power engineering was kind of what I was trying to do, but I didn't have the grades to get in, so I needed to upgrade for a year. And I was like, oh, okay, some buddies are going to Grand Prairie. I'll go to Grand Prairie, upgrade, and then try and play volleyball or whatever. And then obviously, luckily, that kind of worked out. Um, the upgrading was
Yeah.
a bit of a battle, but that was kind of my whole plan. Um, very loose plan, and didn't do very well the first semester of schooling. But anyway, that was kind of my whole. That was what I was.
Yeah.
My whole
Well, I
plan
guess
was.
we got better at schooling throughout all the schooling we've done. Hey, like
Yeah.
we definitely pulled it together. It's a learning experience.
Yeah.
But there was tons of people in our situation trying to get into power engineering but not having the grades.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one. We were lucky enough to discipline ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess then once you get accepted into college for power engineering, I mean, it is a good ambition. Like you're saying, if you want to try it out for a year or something, you can even do that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tried friggin'. I was trying to get into Nate or Sate, and it was like I think
yeah,
I did upgrade. I did upgrading in Grand Prairie. Then we went to Edmonton. I did upgrading again. So I'd like this is embarrassing, but like I did physics, I think 3 times, chemistry 4 times, math a few, and just like looking back, it's like, bro, you really couldn't get high enough marks. Like you did all these things, like you had the curriculum in
no,
every
man.
year, just back to back, but just didn't work out. Just, I mean, finished with an all right high school average eventually, but it just like the competitiveness for those tech schools was at the time was too high and just couldn't get in. So is what
Totally.
it is.
But
And then lucky enough, there's smaller schools who offer a bit of a different program, but still give you a certification at the end of it. So it's like, I don't know, kind of just because you can't get into like your first choice doesn't mean that your second and thirds aren't going to pay off for a guy, you know?
yeah, I guess it's one of those things like any other program. If you want to get into it, like Hunter said, and myself too, we did high school courses 2, 3 times.
Yeah.
We were grinding that upgrading life. And, you know, I guess at that time, you really don't want to end up as someone who completely failed to
Yeah.
get in and whatever. But also, yeah, it is your chance to like build wealth in a career. And it really can like get you
Yeah.
out of the trap,
Definitely.
you know?
And too, it was kind of like a, to be honest with you, if I didn't know about power engineering, I don't know what I would have like chose as like a like a career path. Like I don't really know what I would have like, and I can see why a lot of people kind of would get like, I don't know what the frig to do. And I only knew about this because I had like family who did it and friends,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Yo, it's sweet." But if you didn't have anyone kind of in your ear about that, you wouldn't really have a clue what it was. And then I could see after my 2 years of upgrading and I couldn't get into the course I was getting to, it's like, well, okay, well, I guess I just picked something else. Like I don't know. I could see how a lot of people can get discouraged from schooling and stuff, and that's why I think. And then too, like it's like you were saying before, it's kind of crazy that you can have a year of schooling and then come out with a career job. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like
absolutely.
how many courses do you take at school? Mind you, the tech programs and like the technical schools are more set up for um, less time in school and setting you up. So I think that's kind of cool. But like for the most part, like university, like you can't do a university
Man,
course in a year and then have a job. Like it doesn't even make
so
sense.
just to give people some context, like not going into too much personal detail unless you're comfortable, like on the low end and the high end of a career in power engineering, like what type of salaries can you bring in?
I think just like based on like um, it depends on like where you're working at and stuff. But I don't know. I know of like you can make anywhere from like entry level, like I don't know, depending on the sector you're in, but like 80, 70, 80 kind of $1,000. And then there's guys that are making like $500,000.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like obviously those are it's not like you can, not everyone gets to progress into like these massive things, but if you do well and then you can, I mean, those bigger paying the people making that bigger money, they've kind of branched out into different kind of things where they almost have like a bit of a company and they supply people to work at facilities versus like you personally just getting a job somewhere. But like it's just kind of a show that like there's like it's not like you get in and you're capped right away. Like you can progress quite a bit.
Yeah. So in my experience, so I worked a couple power engineering jobs, and I worked kind of what people consider in the low end of jobs, doing building maintenance, because that was the only job available to me. So I was running government buildings essentially. And, that's probably probably towards the bottom end of the range of salaries in power engineering. And you end up around, let's say 70, 80K per year. I also know people, Hunter and I know people, typically if you go out to the energy sector and you really put in the time and you continue to increase your credentials by doing more and more power engineering tests, guys make, 100, 150, 250, 350. And so the upside and the salary that you can achieve by getting your power engineering credentials is almost like as close to a great paying profession as you can find,
Yeah, right here I just did a quick Google and we got power engineering salaries from Glassdoor, I guess, and this is in Canada. You got an average of 93,000 a year, and I mean like an average, like that's pretty fucking solid.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously averages right
we know guys making way more than that.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it's pretty I know that's a pretty solid career. And then too, what is the crazier thing with that is the fact that you can do a year of schooling and come out with that amount. Like it's not like you needed to do 4 years of schooling to get that average. Like you just need to obviously if you're not competent, like you're not going to make competency is what makes you the money. So obviously if you're not very competent, you're not going to be as inclined to being able to push for higher paying positions within the company you're in and that kind of thing. But I mean, on an average, like that's fucking incredible.
Absolutely.
Like if you told someone that was like 20, like, hey man, or hey girl, if you do this for a year and then maybe do a couple other extra things like a little bit of extra courses or maybe progress into your third, you can make this amount. It'd be like, what?
Yeah. And so I think, I know myself, like back in our early 20s, or I guess 1920, when we were trying to get in, that was a huge driver. Being like, yo, you can make like 200K a year to, after this fourth class power engineering ticket that I go through Grand Prairie College for. Yeah. Like that is that's going to motivate you. Now,
yeah, pretty.
I think through the years, bro, it's a pretty interesting career in that, like Hunter was saying before, you come out with sometimes a massive salary. You're in your early 20s. You've been in college for, a year or two. And now you've got all this freedom on your time off and also the ability to take on huge credit because your salary is so high. Like, what have you observed just being in the field for this long and like seeing guys who just start power engineering and some of the traps that can come up? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
we don't.
I don't know. Everyone's dumb.
We know.
Some people buy a new truck. Some people don't spend a penny. Some people go to the bar and spend it all. Some people just hang out. Like, it's like I don't know. It's pretty, I don't know. When you're young, it's pretty fun to like, I don't know, not have to worry about certain things. And then too, at the other side of it, it's like, it really sets you up where you can friggin' like you can still have like bozo money and like kind of goof around and like do whatever, like not worry too much about like maybe having a night that gets a little bit away from you. And then on the other side of it, you can friggin' set yourself up at such a young age to be like in an incredible spot when you get to closer to retirement age. And it's almost like a nice balance where you can kind of like be a be a millennial or be a freaking a kid and spend all your money, but also like put a little bit away and you're still gonna move forward, you know,
Yeah.
like, and I don't know, I'm sure lots of places are like that, or careers are like that, but it just seems like you can kind of, I don't know, I'm just very grateful for that career. Like it's incredible what it's given me, and like all the people that I know who've done it. Like I don't know,
Absolutely.
I don't know. It just I don't know. We got a lot of friends who've chosen this career just based on like the areas we grew up in, and knowing about it. And it's, you get that group of people together, and it's a very fun time. No
Absolutely.
one's taking too much too serious, and everyone's, I mean, I don't know. It just, everyone's kind of, I don't know.
I mean, the people are very down to earth. And I think it does have something to do with coming out of the blue collar type of ecosystem background and just not having like academic, like,
Yeah.
egos around. Most people that get into power engineering, you have to be able to do tests to be a power engineer and to work this career. If you can't pass tests, you won't make it. But also, not very many of us were like academic. We were
Yeah.
more.
It's a cool career because it takes a lot more, like if you, obviously, like Mike said, you need to pass provincial exams to get certification, but like your common sense goes so much further. And like a bigger thing with is like troubleshooting, like figuring out, okay, this thing was just working for X amount of time. Why did it stop working? What's causing it to stop? And it's like more of like a little puzzles and little games and little like troubleshooting things versus I don't know what it would be versus, because I've never done anything else. But well, that's not true. That's not true. But yeah, I freaking paved roads, bro.
Yeah.
That was pretty fun.
I was framing houses before power engineering.
Yeah,
man,
that's another thing that's kind of cool, is like like to a lot of, well, not a lot, but some people kind of, it seems like they almost take it for granted a bit, like how good they have it. And I think it stems from a handful of people, and not saying that everyone that is has done it, that's not saying that everyone who's done it right from the start has the same mentality, but you do find like some people, like, kind of, it seems like they almost take for granted how good it is and don't really understand like how well they have it, and think that there's like better things out there. And it's like for the schooling and whatnot, and like you're I don't know, it seems like it'd be pretty high to the top.
Absolutely, man. That lack of gratitude. I think it's something about when you find yourself in a very, very fortunate position early on in your life, where most people, it takes, a decade to get to the position that you find yourself in after 1 year of college.
Yeah.
And so you can start getting a bit cynical about the career, wanting to try something else. I personally moved on from power engineering after a while to try other things out. Oh, I forgot. Now, this is a bit of a tangent, but like you were touching on before, about how you need to be competent if you want to make it. Like, what does make a competent power engineer in your experience? Like, how, if someone gets a new job, like, how should they approach it, and what type of skills should they work on?
Yeah. Hopefully you care.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of things going on there, and there's always, like, when you go places, there's guys who have been there for a little while, or older, because they don't just hire like a group of new people. And usually the guys who are in like the higher positions at the facilities, they're there for a reason. Like and those guys, you need to be, I guess, like picking their brain and kind of seeing like what they're doing on a day-to-day basis, asking them questions. And then on top of that, like caring and giving a fuck, you need to like be actively learning like how the things are actually working. Because if you don't know how something works, like how are you supposed to fix it? Like if you don't have an idea of how things work.
Yeah. So
you could even go in, like, you take your knowledge from school and hopefully can apply it to certain things. But like you need to like learn like your plant specifically. They have there's lots of documents that get put together when a facility is being built about like how it's supposed to work, how certain things work, how certain systems will affect other systems, and like certain, just kind of like troubleshooting and that kind of stuff. And you need to make sure that you're reading that and doing the training and stuff. Like they have, there's training manuals and training things like that. And it's there so that you can obviously learn and be better. But I think it basically all stems with like a place can have the best training manuals in the world. But if you're not going to take the time to like pound it into your head and ask questions until you fully understand everything, like you're kind of going to shoot yourself in the foot. But that's like with everything. Like if you don't care, then like you don't care. So it's like, well, how are you supposed to, you're not going to, like, if you have two people, one person's cares so much and the other person doesn't care, like obviously the person who cares is going to go further. Like I don't think you can, like you can only fake it so much and whatnot. And then too, it's, I don't know, if you're caring, and then you kind of are like, I don't know, you're more inclined to try and do better, and you're like happy to be there versus like kind of like, oh fuck man, we're out here again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's a trap a lot of power engineers fall into early on. When you first get a job, it's like ideally you want to be the most competent operator you can manage to be, and that would mean knowing the facility like the back of your hand, learning the whole facility, being like, this is my plant, I'm responsible for it, and I'm going to know it as well as you can manage. Like that's the ideal. Almost no one reaches that ideal. You can strive for it, but a trap that a lot of guys fall into, because like we talked about earlier, there's a lot of downtime, is you start getting lazy.
Of like, of being like an operator is like the internal battle with yourself is to like, to make sure that you're still working and not like,
and learning.
Yeah. Learning and not just like, I guess like, I don't know, taking advantage of how good it is, if that makes sense.
Totally. And I mean, if you can be that guy who takes the responsibility of the plant onto his back and goes above and beyond what it means to be an operator, like I've seen you do this, Hunter, and very inspirationally have started climbing the ranks. And that is how you kind of unlock the upper ends of power engineering, eh? If you really can manage to become a very competent power engineer, you can go so far. Fighting that inner complacency and actually doing what it takes is hard. It's hard to do, you know, like when you have all this freedom to sit around and you're a young guy or girl, you're probably going to be tempted to watch Netflix and just waste that time instead of working on your competence.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. It's definitely something you got to make sure you're not doing.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. All in all, it's a pretty solid career path. It's just like it's just kind of a weird one. And you don't know what you're doing until you're doing it. But I don't know. And then too, it's like, I don't know if there's still that many jobs for it. And it seems a lot more competitive. And it almost like the industry is almost on not a, I don't know how to say it, but like you're not like, oil isn't worth $120 a barrel anymore. So you're not working. These guys aren't working at these places where they're getting like ridiculous bonuses and like things like that. But that being said, it's still fucking incredible. Like it's still, everything you get from it is the best. It's sweet too, because you just, I don't know, when you're working, you're like on a team.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said about like, I don't know, when you play sports, it's like you show up and it's like, if you're doing something shitty, it's like you're running laps or doing lines. You're doing lines, but it obviously sucks. But it's like, oh, you're doing it with like the boys, and then afterwards you all be in like the dressing room or whatever, like hanging out. You know what I mean? Like it's not like you're just like by yourself. And then at work too, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, we got this. Something's happening. It's like, okay, well, let's go handle it. And you're out there with. It's very rare that you're doing something and no one's standing beside you doing it with you. And that's a pretty cool thing.
Another thing that I really loved about power engineering was, like Hunter saying, you're on a team, but also you get to work with a wide range of professionals. Like I worked with, electrical engineers, electricians, carpenters, plumbers, pretty much every skilled trade. I worked with the corporate people a little bit, sending in the like generation numbers and things like that. And so, you get to communicate with pretty much everyone in the organization, which is a pretty awesome thing.
Yeah. Oh, Yeah, no, it is. It's pretty cool. Mike, bro, can we pause for a second? I'm just receiving a phone call I have to answer.
Yeah, totally.
We can leave this recording because this is cool.
Yeah.
Do you think how do you think we're doing with this, man? It's kind of like, it's kind of weird, eh? Like when me and you have conversations and like on the phone, it seems, not that this doesn't, but it seems like sometimes we're just like, it's like a flowy thing.
Yeah.
And then, but it's weird once you like, oh, well, I'll wear a headset and we'll sit in front of the thing and we'll record it and we'll see how it is.
Dude, well,
it's kind of fun though.
It's really fun.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'll toss it on YouTube. So my plan is
I wouldn't mind listening to it.
What's up?
I wouldn't mind listening to it too once we're done. Like,
dude, totally. Yeah. So my plan is just to record convos with my friends like this about interesting stuff that we've done, toss it on YouTube, and then do like little clips that are useful and toss those on. Like, you know, we've hit some useful clips, I think, about power engineering and stuff. And
I think so too.
But yeah, I was just going to say, it does take a while to get used to it. I think it's just going to take like a bunch of these to get used to it.
Yeah.
But we'll
I'm down with it though. Man, do you think we should almost next time just record our chat and then see if there's any, like, listen back to it and then see if there's anything cool in it, or like if you, that was pretty interesting, we'll just make a little note.
Dude, yeah, I think so.
Because I not that I didn't mind this, but I'm just saying, like, I think in I just say, like, I feel like most successful, obviously just kind of comparing it to like a few podcasts that a guy listens to, and not saying that like obviously we're gonna blow up or huge, but I just mean like they seem very like it's just like most of them are like, unless it's like having like a specialist on, they're mostly just like a combo.
Absolutely, man.
Then it just kind of goes in whatever direction.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy that, man. I did enjoy talking about power engineering. But I would like to listen to it before we toss it on, just because I don't want to have something on there that I don't want on there in case.
Totally. Yeah, I'll send it over for sure. And yeah, anything you want to cut, of course, let's cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, so true, man. We should just do straight up convo.
Yeah, and then we'll see. And I mean, maybe we'll be like, man, that kind of sucked. We just like fumbled around and didn't really talk about anything. And then maybe, or I don't know, but I think I'm down to do this again and just kind of try it again with some other things, or just a different path or whatever.
Oh, bro, but anytime you want to do it, let's do it.
And then I think too, I don't know. Yeah, I think it's cool. And even like you, how we went from power engineering and you said, you know what? Thanks, but I'm going to try something else out.
Yeah.
Which I think is fucking dope.
Yeah, man. I mean, such a pretty tough decision and big one. It's paid off. I've enjoyed my time away from power engineering. But yeah, man, like
it's almost like it gave you the opportunity. Oh fuck. Sorry, bro. I'm getting another phone.
Yeah, no worries. Bro,
a third friend.
You're saying you're looking skinny fat. Your upper body's looking, it's looking pretty built. Yeah, not the most defined, but
I've been back in the gym for about a day and a half. Man, it's so funny when you work out and then like it's like, I don't know, I was working out, then I fucking herniate the disc, and then I've been getting back into it, but it's like I don't work out for like, didn't work out for like a month. Yeah. I'm just like, fuck. And then you start working out again. It's been like a month, but not really like it's been a month of like rehab working out. Like it doesn't, not like how, I don't know, just not like bodybuilding or like moving actual weight, like just kind of like doing like 10-pound fucking goblet squats to like get the mobility back and that kind of stuff. But it's funny, like you work out for 2 days, fuck, I'm shredded again. Like I'm pretty good. I will eat that ice cream actually, because I'm looking good. Yeah,
every rationalization I could
find. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was eating cookies earlier, but no, I'm feeling all right, man. Thanks for the compliment,
dude. No worries. I'm feeling small a little bit. I've been just trying to keep in like the maintenance workouts, and I've also been using an Excel sheet to track like the days I've worked out and trying to keep the percentage up. It's really like quite helpful.
Man, that is sweet. I should almost do an Excel as well. I have fuck would you call it? Not like a placemat, but it's like a stack of like the months, like January
Oh,
to December. And then I'm just, I keep it at work, and then I just like write the days that I worked out that month, like as it goes. And like if I stretched, I'll put like obviously that I stretched as well, just because I was trying to track that too, because obviously like my injuries I've had is due to me just like being a meathead and like never stretching and just like thinking
the struggle.
Like you're fucking 12 years old. Like what the hell, man? Anyway, and then I just write in the corner like, oh, this month I worked out X amount of times, stretched X amount of times, and then at the end of the year I'm gonna kind of see where I'm at. But I kind of like your percentage thing because you could see like, holy fuck,
man,
like it's really falling off.
Yeah, like when you have to at the end of every day put did I work out today or no, and you have to hit 0 like 3, 4 day 4, you're like, I'm a fucking loser. Like I gotta get back in there. I did it with wake ups too. So every day I'd put in an Excel sheet what time I woke up. And I wanted to get down to like an average of like in the 7s. Heck, it was in the freaking 10s, man. It was like,
bro, I love that. I love that you've been battling getting up. Getting up has been a battle for Mikey for a little while. Eh?
Dude, if I have nothing to get up for, like I'm not getting up, I'm sleeping. But man, dude, since I was tracking in the morning, I wake up, I'm like, fuck, am I gonna have to put in like a 9? I can't put a 9 in. I gotta get down to 7s. Now I'm like at 7:30, I think. So
nice, bro.
Work. It's like this quote. It's like just, what? Sorry, go ahead, bro.
You go.
I was gonna say it's like what's tracked is improved. And it's so true. It's like a psychological trick. If you just track it, it's gonna get better.
It's so true because it's almost like you're saying, like, do I really want to put in that I did today?
Yeah.
Did I really want to? Okay, I woke up at 10. Like, what am I doing? But no, it does. And then you're it's always in your head, like, fuck, I gotta write this down that I didn't or that I did. And then you start streaking a little bit, and then it kind of like the snowball.
I found it interesting. There's times I want to lie to my own self in my own spreadsheet.
Yep, I did.
I want to be like exaggerated shit. It's kind of interesting, actually. Because then I'm like, what is wrong with you? No one else even sees this. And you want to exaggerate your own results to yourself. But that's
trying to make yourself feel better, you know?
Yeah, man. It's like faced with reality, you know? It's like, no, this is what you've done. No lying about it.
Oh, man. Yeah, the tracking thing is it's definitely the way to go, I think.
Totally.
The wake ups, man, I find like with this new job, like at this new place, I've been there about a little bit over a year now. And it's been I've worked a lot more day shifts than night shifts. And man, I'll tell you, like my overall like feeling is so much better.
Yeah.
And like I used to get fucking sleep paralysis, man, so much. Oh. And I think it was from like always like switching nights and days. Like it was very rare that I'd work like, I don't know, like in 2020, I think I worked out at 24 sets, like 18 of them were nights.
Yeah.
So it's like you go to work and then you come, and it was just so much switching. And I think it just had my body stressed straight to the teats. And man, since I've had this new job, man, I don't think I can remember the last time I had sleep paralysis.
And I used to get it. An interesting observation, though. I've never thought of that before. I used to have sleep paralysis a bit too. I haven't had it for ages, but I mean, nights can't be good for you long term. I'm pretty sure there's evidence it's not, but it'll mess with you big time.
Yeah, and then too, it's like the stress on the body, I guess, like you don't really think much, but then like ever since it stopped, like the sleep paralysis has really cut back, which has been nice. I used to get it literally if I fell asleep like in a nap, airplane, couch, boom, sleep paralysis. And like I'm just like, holy fuck, this sucks. Wake up in like a bit of a panic. But yeah, I don't know if if there's other contributing factors to it or not, but what I've read is basically it's your body's fucking stressed. And I know that not sleeping or having a fucked up sleep schedule is quite the stress on the body. So man, it's been nice, man. No demons looking at me over there.
Man. Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, that's sick. So are you on days now for a long time?
No, I just we do it where there's guys, it's basically like you, for the most part, you'll work like you'll work a week of days, have a week off, a week of days, week off, and then a set of nights. Yeah. And then you'll do another 2 days.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like you'll work like day shift, nights, and then days. So 4 out of 5 sets have been days and one's nights. Like it's 4 out of 5 days have been 4 out of 5 sets are days and then one's nights. And it's pretty sweet. There's been a couple times where things get like mixed around. Like if someone's sick, then it kind of jumbles it up a bit. But for the most part, like it's quite nice, man. Like,
Heck, man. I mean,
yeah.
I guess when I was at Canfor, it was a bit similar, although it'd be 50-50 days, nights.
Yeah. That's kind of we have our crews are a little different where if you're on nights, there's only 3 guys on nights. And then days has anywhere from 4 or 5, maybe 6, depending on holidays and stuff. So it works out that like you don't have to have the same amount of people on nights. So then you're able to always like kind of like keep someone on days and then just like rotate the guys through the nights.
Yeah.
The
Craig, that's sick that you
Yeah,
don't have that much nights.
yeah, it has been nice, man. And I think that has actually been quite the thing. And to just my overall like mood has been nice. And then too, we run like at my old plant it'd be like you and another guy at the plant and then a guy in the control room. And it was like a drive to get to the control room.
Yeah.
Versus like where I am now, where it's you, another guy in the control room operator, and you all just hang out together. Sweet. In the same room and then go to your work and come back. So the dynamic of 3, you probably know this, like working in freaking in the Yukon, like going away for 2 weeks by yourself.
Yeah.
Like by the end of the 2 weeks, man, you're fucking you really contemplate some things. And then and even from where I was where it was 2 guys, and now having 3, it's like it's so much easier to like stay motivated, I find. And then also like the conversation, there's less lulls in conversation just because there's like another person adding in, and it makes such a difference. Like I don't know, and I think that might be contributing to it's like I don't know, not that I was like getting sad or anything at the last place with working those shifts, but like it's kind of like it's hard to not be a little dull after just like hanging out with one person for a week kind of thing, you know.
Absolutely,
like
man.
For your 12 hours of your day, it's like the same guy, like, and obviously worked with some beauties, but by the end of it, it's like everyone's in the same boat too, you know, like it's not like you're the only one who's kind of like ready to go home, like everyone is. So anyway, that's kind of a cool thing.
Think of it like that's pretty unusual. What some of the stuff we had to do, like going out by yourself for 10 days or 2 weeks, almost no one does that. Or like,
I know it's
working with one guy for like 12 days, just you and this like guy's not even really your friend.
Exactly. You just work together.
You live with them too, you know, because you're out at the camp.
Yeah, exactly.
So all day, like you almost never spend that much time with anyone, not even your girlfriend or.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another.
Dude, absolutely. I mean, that team, like when I was at the hydroelectric plant, there is something about being on the team where you're like, yo, we got to get the power back up. Shit has gone wrong and it's winter and people's houses are freezing.
Yeah, we're running these diesel generators.
Hydrocarbons. But yeah, man.
No, good times, bro.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just, having a team, man, it's way nicer. That's like with anything, like fucking. Well, not anything. I don't know. Traveling and stuff's kind of fun when you're by yourself, but also fun when you meet people and you get to hang out with them.
Yeah, and most of the fun comes after you meet people.
Yeah, I was just thinking that too. It's like traveling when you're by yourself is kind of like, okay, well, this is cool, but let's meet some people. Like this has been a fun half day, but I need someone to talk to.
How many times did you have it like in the hostel? Can't meet anyone that day. And
man, when I first went to Thailand, like the first few days was like I met these beauties like on the second night or something, and then like hung out with them for like a day and a little bit, and then they were going like north, and I wanted to go south, and I was just like, "Fuck, boys, I think I'm gonna go south." Like I don't regret not, because I obviously met like other beauties, and then I still talk to those guys too. So I like kind of met up with them again, which was sweet. But there was like a kind of like a 2-day stretch in there where I was like kind of solo, but also hanging out with these people. And like the group I was with, I was like, this is like a tough group, man. Like just classic, like boyfriend, girlfriend who just fight about everything. And I'm like, how is this who I'm hanging out with in like this fucking incredible place? Like, so anyway, that was kind of there was a bit of there, and then I met some Aussie dudes on the boat. And then to my other group, I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna I'm gonna head out here. I'll catch up with you guys in a bit, man.
It's so funny because when you're saying that, I was before you said that, I was thinking like, you know what's worse than freaking being solo is when you do get stuck in those groups, like at the hospital, you're like, I can't believe this is who I go to the museum with, whatever. Like, what? Like, how did
and maybe they're thinking the same thing. Eh? They're like, this guy's like, does this guy know anything about art? And it's like, no, I don't know shit, man. Like, where the buckets at? Like.
Yeah,
but then you meet people who are fucking studs, man, and so much fun. But yeah, like you're saying, like being solo is like, it's exciting because it's like, okay, like I gotta make my friends here. But once you like make the group of people who is like so much fun to hang out with, then it's like it's so weird, like the how good of friends you become with people in like a day, and like you hung out with them for a week and it's like you still talk to them. Like it's crazy, man.
Yeah, there's something about that that's so different than real life, where you meet someone and within a couple days, I think it's like you're just doing so much new stuff together that within a couple days you're tight homie, like for life, you know. Whereas in Canada, like I don't know if I've had that experience in a long time.
No, and then I think too, part of it is like when everyone's kind of on the same page, where they're like, oh yeah, we're trying to meet people, and also just like everyone's having fun. So it's like when you do meet people, it's almost like that, because of that reason, the connection feels a little bit stronger. Versus like what I don't know, like when you're at home, you're not really like, I don't know, I'm not like, I don't know, you're not really going places where people are really trying to meet people and like hang out with people.
Yeah.
So there's that part of it, and then also it's kind of like, I don't know, it's like a different like mindset when you're away. Like you're not like, it's like, oh, I don't have to go to, like you're traveling. So it's like most people are lucky, or some people, you don't have to work. Some people have to work when they're traveling, but like for the most part, you're kind of just like on like a vacation mode. Versus when you're at home, it's like, oh fuck no, I gotta like get back because I gotta study, or I gotta do that, or like, oh no, I don't want to because like the last week I was kind of being a shit stain. But it's like just like a whole different it's vacation mode, you know?
Yeah. Well, man, like, yeah, it was kind of, we were traveling when we were single. Now we're both in relationships, but I feel like we're starting to get to the stage where we can start doing like longer trips, but as a team, like,
yeah, man,
you know, I've been really excited for that.
Oh yeah,
we're definitely.
I can't wait, bro.
Oh man, that's gonna be so fun.
I can't wait to to be able to travel again.
Even
just to like go somewhere sick, like I don't know, anywhere really.
I talk to my grandparents in Australia. I've been like keeping up talking with them like a couple times a week, or trying to.
Oh, nice, bro. Good for you.
But man, it does make me sad. Like every time I talk to my grandma, she's like, so when you coming over? Like, you know, you can come over anytime. And I'm like, yeah,
that's tough,
COVID's done, but.
Well, man, soon I think like, well, I don't know, but you get that second dose, bro. Fucking bounce.
Dude, I'm double dosed already.
Oh, you already doubled up?
I'm double dosed.
Holy smokes, man. No, I'm just 1/2, man.
Yeah. The thing about Australia right now, though, is it's got this like friggin' mandatory 2-week hotel quarantine that costs like $3,500. I'm not.
Oh, really?
Can't afford it.
Oh, fuck. See, I wonder when they'll lift that. 3,500. I guess you got to sit in a hotel for fucking 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of tough too. And then on the other side of it, it's like, like I'm moving home, then fuck, it's like an expense on the end of your trip. But when you're going for like 2 weeks,
it's just not feasible.
Like you're there for a month and half of it's in a fucking hotel. Like,
you can't do it. So, and I think there is still quarantines when you come back into Canada, which is.
Yeah, I don't know how legit it is, but I've seen like in at the end of July or something, they're saying if you're fully on that vax train, that you when you come back, you don't have to do the 2-weeker.
Yes,
which is pretty cool.
That's so sick.
That's how it should be. It's like, well, if there's no benefit, I mean, you can get into it any way you want, but like it's like, yeah, that should be how it is. Like I don't need to wire like at least have a selling point to getting it. Like if you're like, oh yeah, you got to get both, but you do everything you did before, like, okay, sweet, you know.
Pretty interesting watching that play out, hey? Like there was quite a bit of get the vaccine, but we don't actually trust the vaccine. So actually, the government is anti-vax.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like pretty easy to get turned off of it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, if nothing's gonna change, why?
Yeah, it's like what is the benefit here?
Yeah.
Man, it was weird when I don't know. I got mine and I was kind of like, what the hell am I doing here? But then I was like, whatever. Like when you have enough people, like when you like, I think I might have mentioned this to you, but when you have like enough people who you like really like trust and like value their opinion, or like take their opinion, like, okay, that guy's or that person's thought about like what they're talking about, it makes it a little bit easier versus like when you got like, I don't know, like there's a lot of meatheads out there going the other way, and it's like, well, I don't like, do I want to be, what side do I want to be on here?
Yeah.
You know, like, so
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah, I mean, like especially with the vaccine and stuff, for that stuff, I've always found that stuff decently easy decision. Like the risk is pretty low, or what I thought, but it's so right. Once you get like a mob of people, like say like ridiculous conspiracy stuff and all this, it's like even if you might have your reservations, it's like, I don't know if I don't agree with all this stuff. Like,
yeah, exactly. Sketchy. But bro, it's ramen time, buddy.
And I guess the one thing about power engineering is when you think about like the value in it, why it was kind of fun, like going over it a bit, is think about like if a few people get into it because of a pod, or if you can really break down a pod and give people good advice about it, it's like pretty freaking valuable stuff there.
Oh, fucking rights, man.
And like the fact so few people know about it, if you could help a little bit, like get a couple people, change their freaking life. Like
fucking A, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Okay, man, but it was great catching up, and have a great
you too, bro.
Yeah, dude, like, bro. Let's keep running these things. It'll be a sweet experiment. Okay,
I'm down, bro. Okay, peace, buddy.
Okay, peace, bro.